This episode is brought to you by our friends at Brookes Blooms, your all-in-one landscaping solution.
Brookes Blooms' three-step landscaping experience offers a seamless journey from design to construction and ongoing care, ensuring your outdoor space thrives year-round.
Visit brooksblooms.com today to embark on your landscaping journey, where every step is a step towards a vibrant and beautiful outdoor entertaining space. G'day everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Ads and Dunks podcast. As always, brought to you by the Oz American Aces and our lovely, lovely sponsor, Brooke, who we love. Of course, my name is Adam, and with me, one of my nearest and dearest, Joshua Dunkley. How are you, mate?
I'm good, thanks, Adam Treloar. I'm good. I'm going well. I'm happy that I'm back up in Brizzy after a great weekend down in Melbourne, supporting you in your 250th, mate, which was awesome, and you boys getting the win and us getting the win as well. So it's been a good week. It
was a very good weekend, and I thoroughly appreciate it, mate. That's why I love you. Hey, I thought we'd start off just by firstly congratulating both Dusty and Tom Hawkins, who announced their retirement today. I just want to go through their accolades in their games and whatnot, just because I feel like they deserve it. Two superstars of the game. So Dustin Martin, right? He 3 flags, 3 Norm Smith medals, a Brownlow medal, 2 Jack Dye medals, which is the Richmond Best and Fairest, and 4 All-Australians. Unbelievable resume. I think he played 302 games. It doesn't say goals here, but there's a shit ton of goals, and he kicked some absolute rippers for what it's worth. And then Tom Hawkins played 359 games, be top 15, I reckon. Kicked 796 goals, and there's still a few more games and goals for Tom Hawk because he hasn't officially fully retired. But accolades, if there isn't anything to add on, there's the Geelong BNF in 2012, a 5-time All-Australian, and I believe 4 of them were after the age of 31 maybe, which is just remarkable. A Coleman medal in 2020, and obviously a star of the Geelong Footy Club. So just wanted to give both of those guys a bit of love. Obviously, as I said, Tom Hawk is going to, hopefully we're going to see him again out on the field. But Dusty, we've spoken about in a couple of the episodes this year about how much of a superstar he is. And it's kind of surreal because, he was definitely someone, I think he's 2 or 3 years older than me. And he was someone I well and truly, would I say idolized? Yeah, I probably would. Like, looked at him and would watch him and just be in awe of the things that he would do. And the fact that he's now retired and he's not playing, because I thought he would. He seems like someone who just loves the AFL, loves playing football. I just thought he was going to keep going, or whether it's at Richmond or potentially going somewhere else. I just never thought the day would come, and it's come, and it's a sad day for footy because he's a true champion of the game, like champion. I mean, you can only throw that around with a few names out there, but he is a champion of the game. He's going to be the amount of love he's going to cop from all avenues of the footy world is going to be remarkable. But yeah, true superstar. Wanted to give both of those guys a shout out. Hopefully, there's a couple more games for Tom Hawk come the end, but well done, boys.
Yep, both very, very, very good players for their respective footy clubs, and as you touched on in the wider AFL community. Hey, speaking of Dusty, did you ever cop one of his don't argies?
Look, mate, because
I
know this.
I did.
I know you did. Well and truly the way I live life is if I feel like I can't beat you at something, I'll refuse to play at it, or I refuse to do something against you at it. I knew there's no way I could tackle Dusty, so I never tried to tackle in front of him because I would cop the fend in the chest and I would hate it. So my answer is no. What about you? Said yes. So do you remember the fend off?
Oh, I do remember it. I can't remember what year and we were playing Richmond at Marvel, and I remember coming to him full chested. It was the stupidest thing I've ever done. Here I was running up thinking, I'm going to be able to tackle Dusty Martin, and bang, straight in the chest. I think he got out, and they might have kicked a goal or something might have happened after. But yeah, we'll see if Brado can find it for us.
Yeah, he was a superstar, mate. And I remember there's a couple of games that he dominated against us. But the game that probably sticks out the most for me was, I think, 2017. We played Richmond in round 2. And off the top of my head, I'm actually going to look at it right here. I reckon he would have had 30 and kicked 4, but I remember one of his goals, which was similar to the goal he kicked in the grand final up in Brisbane against Geelong, the first goal in that first quarter where he kind of ran away and like snapped it over his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, mate. And I remember just watching it up close. And that was 2017 where he was, here it is. He's had 25 and kicked 3. So, yeah, he was just a superstar, and he'll be, he's a guy that you're just going to remember for the rest of your life. And in years and years and years' time, I'm talking 30, 40 years' time, he'll always be remembered because he was just a freaking superstar. And Tomahawk in his own right will be the exact same as well. He for him to get better as he got older, he was just an absolute star up forward, and he was such a pillar for Geelong, especially during those years where they were always contending, but like throughout the 10s, 210s to 220s, like he was just a superstar. And yeah, it's always a sad day when you see players that you played against or come up against retire because, mate, it's getting close to the end. And I've just obviously entered my 30s, 31, and you're what, 27, so you've got a couple more years left. But yeah, it does come. So it's quite a sad day, but 2 champions of the game.
Do you, speaking of retirement, do you ever think about, because I do, like when you'll retire, do you think you'll retire at an age where, or not an age, but like a time where you're still at, relatively at the top of your game?
I don't know. I like to think that, but I'm a realist, and I probably know that that's probably not going to be the case. Like, think about it. Who's retired at the top of their game in AFL? Not like peak 25 to 30-year-old your age. But I know what you're saying.
Not 2024 Adam Treloar. I'm not talking about 2024 Adam Treloar. I'm talking about future years.
No. So the other one I think of who I could swear could still play or was still playing as good as ever was Brent Harvey. And he was on game 429 or whatever it was. But, you see guys tend to slow down. So to answer your question, I don't know. I hope not. I hope I can go out on my own terms. I hope I can, be like, yep, I'm done. I'm happy, whatever, I'll move on. But hopefully there's a few years left in that, mate. That'll be a thing. But anyway, how was your weekend? How was your week from the last we spoke to you?
Pretty good. We chatted Tuesday night. I came down to Melbourne on Friday, so up until then it was a pretty stock standard week for me. Went out to dinner on Thursday night with Tipsy before coming down Friday morning. So that was nice. And then, just been doing some work experience on the side, mate. I'm not sure if I mentioned that last week, but done some buyer's agent stuff over the last couple of weeks with PMC Buyer's Agents here in Brisbane, which is a cool place, and loving every minute of it. Get to go walk through houses and do the things that I've always loved. So, that was good. And, spent the weekend in Melbourne, as I mentioned earlier, and then came back. We got back here, mate, 1 o'clock. I reckon I got home on Monday morning after a Sunday game. So it was a very, very late night for us. And, day off yesterday and back in today for our standard Tuesdays. Yeah,
well, I went and watched your game, which was weird for me because I haven't been to a game outside of my own.
It is weird, isn't it?
It is. Being outside of my own game. So obviously I missed the Carlton game this year, but it still felt like, I was in the change room and everything. This one I was a genuine fan. I obviously sat with Lise and Panda and Rack, all the Dunkleys, and it was great fun. Have a couple frothies, those not me, but old man and Rack had a couple frothies, which was nice. But it was weird sitting there, but I was cheering, mate. I was clapping every time you boys did something well or someone kicked a goal. I mean, Cam Rayner and Charlie Cameron were on fire up forward and they were kicking goals, and I'd be standing there clapping and I'll be like, oh shit, I'm actually a rival player. So I went and watched you play, which was nice, and no doubt you'd be pumped about the win. But it was nice. I enjoyed it, and I feel like it makes me think about when I transition out of footy. I reckon I'll enjoy going to the footy because I thoroughly enjoyed it. For a minute, I forgot that I actually played the game at the highest level as well, and it was nice sitting there and watching. And but I'll tell you what, and I reckon you do the same thing. You watch it from a different perspective, don't you? Like you don't actually watch. Yeah, you don't watch the game like the ball. You know, I'd imagine general fans just watch the ball. Like I watch what players are doing, and obviously I watch what you're doing. So are you the same when you go and watch?
Oh yeah. The other night when I watched you, like that was the first game that I'd been to as a fan for a long time, probably since I was in Melbourne. So a couple of years at least. And yeah, I'm watching yourself. I'm watching guys behind the ball. It was almost like I was scouting against you blokes because I'm like, I wonder what they're doing here. Like, who's getting spare and how's Lobby getting all these intercept marks and what's Ads doing off the ball and how's he getting so much of the pill all the time? Like, nah, it's good. It's good. It's good insight and it's pretty cool. I enjoyed it.
You wouldn't have been able to see much with Georgie jumping up and down in front of your way.
I was wiping her hair out of my face the whole time and she was just like jumping up and down all the time.
It is funny because I asked her, I'm not lying, I'm not pissing in your pocket here, but when the next day, obviously, because she was knackered afterwards, I was asking her about the night and if she had a bit of fun. And I was like, so out of everyone you've seen, be honest with me, Georgie, who's your favourite? And she goes, who was everyone I seen again? And I named like 15 people because I had quite a few people there, as you know. And she heard them all. And then she goes, Josh. Josh was my favourite. And I started laughing. It's a Dunkley thing, mate. The Treloars just are attached to the Dunkleys. We all love you. But it was a good night. We may as well talk a little bit about it. It was a very special night. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, I can, as you can hear Georgie in the background say, Daddy. I'm sure you probably guys didn't hear that, but the girls have actually moved down officially, which is unbelievable. But the night itself was, very special. It was something that I'll always remember. And as you can see, the back door open. Georgie, hello. All right, Georgie. Georgie's going to be on the podcast. Can you wave and say hello? All right, can you do me a favour? And Brado, you ain't cutting this out. This is going to be a part of the potty. Georgie, you've got to leave because Josh and I have to do this podcast. Before you leave, can you wave and say, go Bulldogs, go Lions?
Go Lions.
All right, see ya. Expect to cop a little bit of that throughout the rest of the year because the girls are back, as I said. All right, I'm going to continue.
Shit.
Yeah, so it was a very special night, and the outpouring of love that I got from not only the Bulldogs people, but some Giants players, Steve Canelio, Josh Kelly, Toby Green, some of my favourites reached out. Some, obviously, Magpies boys, Brodie Grundy's obviously at the Swan. Like, so many people reached out and gave me love, and it was very special. And I know something, when you get a bit older as well, when you get to your next milestones, you'll appreciate it a lot more. So, yeah, it was a very overwhelming day, and we've got some really cool content as well. I know the Bulldogs media team, they mic'd myself up and Georgie up during the warm-up and then post the warm-up into running out and then post-game. So there'll be some cool content getting released that I feel like a lot of people will enjoy. But, yeah, it was a great weekend, and I love the fact that we could get in the one video clip together where I kicked the goal, sent the love heart. You're there with Georgie, of course. And then the common question was, who was the love heart for? Who do you reckon it was for, mate?
It was for Kimmy, I reckon, mate.
No, it was for all of you. So I appreciate it, mate. I really do. Thank you for coming out and supporting me. It meant the whole world to me.
Nah, it's good. It was a very special night. It was great that, I was honoured to be there, mate, as you invited me down and spent some time with your family pre-game and whatnot. It was actually quite funny because there was a few funny things that happened on the night, like that one you just mentioned, your goal celebration. But did you know that when Gorney kicked a goal, that the ball came to us? I actually got my hands to it. I reached and grabbed it, and then it spilt to Peaver, and Peaver was sitting next to me. He had the ball.
No, I didn't know
Cooper,
that.
I'm fairly sure Cooper took a photo. Cooper or one of the other boys took a photo. Yeah, Chook.
Well,
he might have taken a photo. So you better have a look at that. But we had the ball, mate, the match ball in the crowd, and I was like, this is so funny.
I've actually got that. Well, hopefully that's the ball, but I've got one of the 250. They gave me one of the footy, so it might be that one. That's pretty cool. Well, I can't wait to celebrate your milestone, mate, when it comes.
I look forward to it. But, no, it was a good one. And I just want to ask you, like, milestones are built up to be really big. You obviously had your 200th already, which is really big in terms of AFL, and I think it's only 4 or 5% play 200. So 250, you're talking about all this love that you're getting. How did you feel out there? Like, were you nervous? Were you excited? Was it like because you were overwhelmed with all the joy that had been sent your way? Like, tell us about that. Tell us a little bit about how you're feeling.
Yeah, I was a little bit more nervous than what I normally, because I don't usually get nervous nowadays. I just more get nervous about my body feeling good, but I haven't had an issue with that, so I haven't really thought about that. But I guess to answer your question, yeah, I was a little bit nervous. Just because I knew there was a bit of attention on me, and I knew the obviously walking out, I led the boys out, which was something special. Obviously seeing Georgie there, that made me a little bit nervous. I actually did the coin toss as well, which I've never done the coin toss before, so I didn't know what I was doing. So, I was a little bit nervous. But as you know, as soon as the game started, as you know more than as well as anybody, like you just kind of get into that rhythm and you're fine. But it was probably more, I'd say, more the post-game stuff, knowing, once the siren goes, you kind of, it's like, usually in a win, like, you won, you celebrate, blah, blah, blah. But it was probably then I realized, actually, there's going to be a little bit more attention on me. Like, siren's gone, 250 games, I actually do the Guard of Honor now, which is really special. I mean, as a player, that is extremely special. It's, one of the proudest moments that I've had, being able to get clapped off by my own teammates and the rival teammates, rival players, which is really special. I mean, it's, pretty cool to be doing that. It's very surreal. But that was what was going through my head when the siren went. I was like, oh, shit, it's actually going to be a little bit about me, which I'm very uncomfortable with because it's embarrassing. Like, I'm just this kid from Dandenong, from Noble Park, who, is now played 250 games and loving it. So, to answer your question in a long way, it wasn't really that different to any particular game. It was a little bit just more nervous around the extra attention. But so special, man. It was to have Kim there and have Georgie there. Like, those memories for Georgie will be everlasting, and hopefully I can get to 300 games. That'd be nice. It'd be cool to run out and have Georgie involved in that and whatnot. But it was really cool, mate. Very special. Yeah,
it was pretty cool to see the growth in Georgie from 200 to 250. I saw the club posted a video, and I remember I was actually running out with you in the 200, and she was bawling her eyes out, like screaming, didn't want to run out. And then, this one she was like lapping it up, talking on the mic and everything.
Yeah,
so it's great to see it.
Well, it'll be funny, as I said, when you see this content come out, it'll be hilarious because she's a lot different than what she was because, she was younger. But no, it was good. I appreciate it, mate. Anything else you want to talk about? Because that was probably the most. Oh, actually, yes, I do want to mention something. Our boy Lordship had a great run at Flemington on Saturday. Great run, wasn't it? Yes. You want to fill us in, mate? Fill the listeners in on Lordship?
Yeah, so had its second run up for its first prep in Australia and ran over 2,500, I think, from memory. And out and out favourite, what was it called? Berkshire Breeze or something?
Berkshire Breeze. Which is which will be one of the Melbourne Cup favourites, I believe. Very good horse.
Yeah. So our boy Lordship ran behind him, one length behind him, so came third on the day. But it was an incredible run. I was very happy. I think everyone was pretty happy with how he went. So exciting times ahead, hopefully, mate.
It is exciting, and he's going to have one more run in a few weeks' time, which we'll fill everyone in on, absolutely. But mate, I was probably more nervous and pumped for that than actually running out for my 250th. I mean, I don't know why. I just get nervous. Like, it's not about wanting to win. It's just like I want the horse to run well.
I texted you before, and I was like, "It's a free run, mate. What are you so nervous about?" Like, it's literally we're not even. The trainers told us to, just prepare for it, to just run and, feel his groove a little bit and see how he goes. Yeah. But, there's nothing really in it for us. But then he ran third, so it was good.
It was good. I'll always be nervous. And actually the other thing, because I've got it right here, I'm going to go real early with my Brookes Bloom of the week right now, because this is the funniest thing ever. This will go down in folklore, if you want to call it. Did you see, cannot pronounce his name, but at the Olympic Games, which I'm all over for what it's worth, the Turkish shooter Yusuf Dikek, Dikec, sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Did you see him in the shooting event where they shoot the pistols? So it's the pistol, whatever they call it. And you've got everyone in the protective wear. You've got the glasses. You've got the big freaking earbud things that block your ears out. You've got some lenses on some of the glasses that clearly look like little microscope to help it look closer. Well, old Yusuf walks up to the plate, puts his left hand in his pocket, no protective wear, mate, nothing. He's got nothing on him. Just points the pistol and shoots his way to a silver. One of the most craziest things I've ever seen in my life. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. I did see that. It's funny because that was everywhere. But then I saw something else pop up about another guy that did. Oh, I can't remember. But yeah, I remember seeing that and being like, geez, that's pretty impressive. It gave me, movie type vibes.
It did. You know what it reminded me of? Which character? The great John Wick. You seen the John Wick movies?
Yeah.
It reminded me. So anyway, I've gone early and he's my Brookes Bloom of the week because that was the funniest thing I've almost ever seen.
Well, I might as well go early too then because
Please
my
do.
Bloom of the week, Brookes Bloom of the week is the Fox sisters. Did you see how, I think is it Naomi? Naomi?
I'm not sure.
She knocked Jess out in a semi-final or something. So she went through to the gold medal final and won it. So Jess wasn't in the final. So she already has 2 golds. So to go for her third, but she unfortunately wasn't in it. But then her sister won it. So she jumped in the water and celebrated with her being a non-contestant. So that was pretty cool. I like that. So yeah,
that was cool.
They're my Brookes Bloom of the week.
I did see that as well, which is great. And the Aussies are killing it at the moment. We're equal second for the gold medal tally. How good are the Olympics, mate? We just spoke about it last week, but just event after event, it doesn't matter what it is. I mean, I watched wind sailing, I think it was. Wind sailing, mate. I couldn't tell you the first thing about wind sailing, but I watched the gold, silver, and bronze for the wind sailing. I just loved it because it's in the Olympics.
Well, we were talking about this today. There's breakdancing in the Olympics now. Have you seen that?
No. Yes, there's breakdancing it. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of.
Surely they can.
You know what? I tell you what, I was thinking today. You know what should be in the Olympic Games? I would be a genuine gold medal chance. I'm telling you. Throw in the vortex as far as you can.
Throwing the vortex?
You know the vortex? You know that thing that whistles in the air?
Yeah, I've seen you do it, mate. Come on.
Yes. Come on, mate. If breakdancing is a gold medal freaking event, the vortex could be a gold medal event. Like, this is crazy, some of the events that are out there. But no, the Olympics is unreal. And you best believe, mate, when the breakdance is on, I'll be watching that.
Oh, the breakdancing. No, I've got another random question for you. Have you seen that you've been watching the diving? Tell me you've been watching the diving.
Of course I have.
Do you know why? This is a question for you. Do you know why divers shower before they dive?
I have
or they're in the spa.
Clue. No.
So apparently there's a reason because I actually don't know.
Hang on. So you don't know? Oh, right. Well, I reckon Brado might know. I
maybe Brado can tell us.
I thought because it's cold when they jump into the big water and then they get into the spa just to warm up or have a warm shower.
Wouldn't have a clue. I reckon there's a reason behind it.
Yeah, there would be. There's some probably sports science behind it. There's sports science behind everything these days. So no doubt there's sports science behind it. But it's been good, hasn't it? The Olympics, as we touched on last week, and next week I think will be one of the last days. So did you watch the 100-meter final?
Not live, no. I was too tired, mate.
Yeah, same, mate. You obviously would have seen closest final probably in history. I don't even know if that's a fact, but it probably is. And from the naked eye, it actually looked like the Jamaican runner won. And I think Noah Lyles actually thought he'd run as well. But I do want to say, mate, he's backed up his talk because obviously he came out and spoke about how world champs, the US, or well, not the US national team, but the NBA, how he questioned them saying world champs. Well, mate, he's come out and backed it up.
Yep, he has. It was pretty cool. Good race. I mean, I don't think we'll ever see a Usain Bolt ever again, but
nope.
Yeah, it was very, very impressive.
It was impressive. Anyway, mate, we probably should get into some footy because I could talk Olympics all day, and the NFL's coming back soon, man. It is just an exciting time. We're actually about to renew our Bulldogs League that you're still a part of, and Doc actually just said to me, he messaged me before, and he goes, because do you remember
Saying
who
he
won
wants
the
to kick
Bulldog?
me out?
No, never, mate. You're always a part of it. You know who won their league last year, right?
You.
Yes. And he actually asked me,
Wait.
he goes, hey, man. He goes, Doc goes, hey, man, did you win our fantasy league last year? I was like, yeah, I did. He goes, oh, yeah, just wondering. I just want to start up this new one. Sorry, mate. I was like, oh, no worries. All good.
So didn't we have a buy-in?
Yeah, prize money. Oh, well, yeah, I've got it. I've got it now. As of in the last, what time is it? In the last 40 minutes. But that's all right. It's all good. Still got it.
Oh, so Doc the commish, he's taking all the cash.
But yeah, NFL can't wait another month until it's back. But anyway, let's talk footy. We'll talk our games, mate, from the weekend. May as well start with our one because we obviously played on the Friday. Yeah, it was a good game. It was a very good game. We started really well. I think that's something we've done really well the past 3 weeks. The past 4 weeks, to be honest, is we've started games really well. And we came out of the blocks real quick. Obviously, we knew we had to start well. Melbourne have had the wood over us the past, I can't remember the last time we beat them. I think it might have been 2022 at Marvel. So, yeah, it was very pleasing that we started well. And then, as I've said in episodes gone by, the fact that we were challenged in the second, I think they got within 3 goals and could have got within 2 after Bailey Fritsch had a snap-on goal that was marked on the line. It was pleasing that we were still able to build, enough of a buffer to keep building on a really strong lead. And, yeah, that's what we did. Felt like, we were probably on top most of the game, which is really pleasing. I definitely feel like we left a lot out there. I mean, you look at what did we kick? We kicked 20 behinds. So we've had 35 shots on goal, kicked 20 behinds, and we probably missed some real simple goals as well, which is frustrating a little bit because it can be frustrating in games where we're doing a lot of work to get these looks. But I think to the boys' credit and the guys who are actually having the shots as well, the fact that we're able to stay in a really good headspace, positive in what we're doing. Yes, we're not kicking goals, but we're doing everything right to get looks. That's probably been really pleasing in the last month of footy and again on the weekend against Melbourne. So, yeah, all in all, to top off the 250th game, it was a really, really good performance by the boys. And, obviously Bonsi was probably the best player on the ground, but a really good even spread of contributors across the ground.
Yeah, I must say at the start of the game, you talked about the momentum that you had. It looked like, a Bulldogs game right from the start. Like, you guys were on top early and the pressure and that the forwards were bringing, especially, guys like Cody and Lath and Lockie McNeil in game 50, I think it was.
Yes.
And
yes.
Yeah, all your guys that are your role players really stood up, and that was pretty impressive to watch just from, as I said before, I was doing a bit of opposition scouting, but watching those guys go to work was quite impressive. And you must be happy with the buy-in that you're getting from those guys because these guys are, let's be real, they don't get talked about at all, but they're doing these things. Like, are you pumping them up during the week to make sure that they're getting the love they deserve?
Mate, it's great you mentioned that. It's a great observation as well. And yeah, to answer the question, yeah, our forwards wouldn't be able to click the way they've clicked if it wasn't for not just those lads. So you mentioned obviously Lockie McNeil and Laith Vandermeer, Riley West as well. But Jamara's his defensive side, his chase, his pressure, his tackling, Naughty's chase, pressure, tackling. When Sammy Darcy's down there, I think he leads the league in smothers. Like, these little 1%ers that help us are the reasons why we're getting really good looks and turning the ball over in really good spots. So, yeah, to answer your question, they are definitely getting pumped up internally and well-deserved because, footy teams don't click or don't work if we don't have guys that play, sacrificial roles. So, a guy like Latham Vandermeer and Lockie McNeil, very, very highly regarded within our footy club because of what they do on the footy field.
I was chatting to Lathy post game, and he was telling me about his, how he's playing that role, and it's hard at times because you don't get much recognition and whatnot. But the love that he's obviously copping inside the 4 walls is that keeps him going, and I'm sure he's very pumped to be out there playing games of footy and consistently too. So as I said, very impressive to watch that first quarter and a bit, and then as you mentioned, they got back in the game a little bit, but your midfield just was too powerful in the end, and they lost Stephen May. I think it was at half time, but yeah, there was no stopping the doggies train made in your 250th, and I just feel like, again, like you and Bonty especially, like stood up. Libber and Ed and all those guys are just doing their little thing around the outsides and doing their roles. So going to be a hard team to stop over the next few weeks. You must be pretty pumped.
Yeah, thanks, mate. I think that has been an aspect that has been really pleasing as well, is just the continued development of, well, the cohesion between the real insiders, and you obviously mentioned Eddie, and have to throw in Tim English as well, who I think's just built nicely into his season. Now, obviously, people are going to clearly compare his All-Australian season last year to this year, which he still has had an incredible season for us. Hasn't missed a game, knock on wood. Hasn't missed a game yet. Going up against, really, really good ruckman. Max Gawn was probably Melbourne's best player and showed why he's still one of the best ruckmans in the league. But, like, his aerial stuff has been awesome. His follow-up work around the ground's been awesome, and I love playing with Big Chill. So, yeah, I think he really is a good barometer for us insiders inside. And as I've said, as a lot of teams say, and you'd probably say this within your team as well, but a lot of teams they win, whether they win or lose is based off how their mids go. And, what I mean by that is how they're, defensively going, how their source pressure is, whatever it may be. So, yeah, it's pleasing. It's pleasing that we find some really good form in there, and we get challenged weekly on the weekly basis, and no team is easy. And we've got Adelaide this week, who in Adelaide are an extremely hard team to beat, and probably should have beaten Geelong. It's Geelong's credit they won, but, probably should have beaten them in the end, and they've got a great midfield group. So going to be another great challenge for us. But, yeah, very pleased we were able to win in the way that we won on Friday, and now we get a nice long 9-day break.
Yep, couldn't agree more. On to my game on Sunday. Yes. Yeah, you were there. You saw it for what it was, and similar thing. Like, I think, well, we started okay. I felt like we probably were a little bit slow to start in terms of first quarter and getting going, but we scored the first couple of goals and let the Saints sort of get back into it with a bit of their kick mark game. But I think from the second quarter onwards, it was a pretty impressive performance from our boys, and similar thing to you guys, like all our players up forward, bringing the heat, bringing the pressure. Guys like Charlie Cameron and Kai Lohman, I think, had his career high in tackles on the weekend. So guys like that are really investing in the defensive side of the game are helping us enormously keep the ball in our forward half. And, yeah, it just probably overwhelmed the Saints a little bit at times where we were bringing the heat and then kicking scores. So it was a very even contribution on the day, and I thought, our team was, probably one of the better performances of the year, I would say. Yeah,
I agree, and I couldn't be more impressed. Watching you boys live, and rightfully so. You're probably the best team in the competition at the moment, and there's a lot of talk about how well you boys are travelling, which is, all warranted and all fair. Didn't feel like at all that you guys were going to lose that at all, and you came out the blocks really well, which must be pleasing. But you're right, mate. I think the that aspect where you mentioned Kai Lohman with his 8 tackles and the pressure that Zach Bailey, Rayner bring from a high half forward midfield role, that was probably what stood out to me a lot. And those guys are probably barometers for how your team goes, and it's probably no coincidence that they're flying at the moment. But Cam Rayner in particular, I think his last 3 to 4 weeks has been probably longer than that in the time frame you guys have won, which is the last, I think, 8 or 9 games. He's probably been one of your best players. It must be pleasing, well, firstly to see those boys, buy-in's not the word, but value that side, because they probably know how important that is. And secondly, playing with those guys must be something that you appreciate as well.
Yeah, it is, definitely. I think what you're 100% right, but I feel like what you're trying to say is that we're understanding each other's games. And at the start of years, this is a really good talking point, I think. Like the start of years, everyone's trying to, you go away in the off-season, everyone tries to get better. Everyone comes back as a different version of themselves. So at the start of the year, you're trying to figure out, righto, what's the best look going to be? You know, how's he playing now compared to last year? I'm going to have to play around that and do this. That's going to help that. So those types of things have just been evolving throughout the year. And I think now we're starting to see the fruits of that labor, if you know what I mean. Like, we're starting to see Cam Rayner be Cam Rayner that we know, and even better than what we've seen in the past, because he's gotten better, but we probably just haven't been able to showcase that because of the way that we were playing earlier on in the season. So we've just been learning about each other throughout the year. And some of the great teams in the past have been able to do that and just click at the right time and then, you know, keep going. So hopefully we're on that, the right track with that. But I feel like, we're gaining some momentum at the moment. Still plenty of things that we can improve, but it's great to see those guys, as you mentioned, you know, your Rayners, your Baileys, even, you know, your Darcy Wilmots of the world are going really well for us. So loving the youth in the side at the moment, mate, and they're playing important roles. Logan Morris is another one who's a first-year player who's really stood out to me. I
agree. I think someone else that stood out as well, and we probably never mentioned him on the potty before, but he doesn't get that much love externally, is the Big O. I feel like he is really, really important for you boys and is extremely underrated. He's a great tap ruckman, but I just feel like you take him out of your side, you obviously still would be one of the best teams in the comp, but he's such an important player for you guys, such a valuable player.
He is, and he's one of his harshest critics, to be fair. He's always trying to get better, the Big O, and someone that I've really enjoyed working with over the journey of the last couple of years that I've been here, just because he's so determined and driven to get the best out of, you know, not only himself but the group. And you know, he'd be the first one to say he came in as a raw, you know, player that probably didn't quite go so well in his early years, and then now he's building himself up to be one of the premier ruckmen in the competition. And he's beaten a lot of guys this year that have taught him so many lessons in the past. So it's great that he's seeing, you know, we're seeing the confidence in him, and he's seeing the confidence in us, because he's doing some really good things, some really important things for us.
Yeah, I agree. And I think when you say, you know, big jobs or big performances, it's not from a statistical point of view, because you can look at this game, and perfect example is Rowan Marshall's had 17 and 2 goals, and Big O's only had 9 disposals. But it was one of those, and 36 hit-outs for what it's worth, double the amount of the next best. But watching the game live, you may look at this like, you know, from afar and be like, oh, obviously Rowan Marshall probably had the wood over him, but it wasn't like that at all. I mean, his presence around the ground, his stoppage work, unreal. His timing of the hit, whether it's an outside longer hit or in close hit, like, it's just the cohesion that I spoke about with our boys. It clearly shows he's a big piece of that for you boys, guys like you and Lockie Neal and Huey, who goes through there, and Willie Ashcroft as well. So, I feel like he's someone who's so extremely valued internally, as you've just said, but someone that I was really, really impressed by, and I think is one of the premier ruckmans in the comp. You said to become one. I think he already is one of the premier ruckmans in the comp, and I reckon anybody in the AFL, if they had a ruckman, they'd love to have Big O. So, that was something I took from the game. So there's a bit of love there for the big fella, even though I've got love for another player coming up. But all in all, mate, it was a great performance by you boys. Anything else from your game you want to talk about?
No, not really. Other than the fact that it was the Saints play that tough kind of brand, so it was nice to be able to penetrate their defense a little bit when the time was right. So other than that, just improving and keep getting better each week, and hopefully we go well again this week.
Hope so, mate. It was a great round for close games, for what it's worth. Did you?
It was. They're all Sunday.
Yeah, you didn't see those 2 games, obviously, but even the Carlton-Collingwood game, which was well done to Pendles yet again, superstar. But, mate, that game was – the Carlton-Collingwood games, past couple of years, that all of them, I feel, have been really close, being able to play in that. Mate, how would you go being Mitch McGovern, having to take that shot after the siren?
We'll see. As soon as, watching, right, I don't know if you noticed this, right, but as soon as he took that mark, did you see him cop a knee in the head? Did you see that, like, high hit that he copped?
No, I didn't, no.
So someone slid in, I think it might have been Lockie Schultz, as he marked the ball and, like, hit him in the head. I was like, he's going to shank this because he'll be rattled from that hit. Sure enough, he went back and shanked it. Yeah. So, I don't know. It was because I remember I might have read it somewhere, but someone said that they thought it might have been 50 because he hit him late in the head. Yeah.
Well, I actually backed him
but
in.
There's been no talk.
No, well, that's the first I heard of it. But I actually backed him in. And reason being is, one, he's a great field kick. He's a beautiful field kick. Very good. But I've also seen him firsthand, actually, in one of my games when he actually kicked the goal after the siren for Adelaide, when he played for Adelaide against me when I played at the Pies in 2017. So I was saying to Kim, if you want anyone to have it in the Carlton side, you'd want Mitch McGovern to have it. But then obviously didn't kick it overly well. But more from the question to you, more from how would you feel, you reckon? Like, for some reason,
in that situation.
Yeah, I would be shitting myself. Like, mate, I don't reckon I'd drop the ball with my foot. I'd be scared. So, and that is just me being honest. I mean, I feel for him.
Yeah, well, I had a shot after the siren last week against Gold Coast, but the game was over. So I didn't even feel anything. I was just like, I'll just kick this and hopefully it goes through. Whereas, I was, if that was me in that situation, mate, I'd be the same as you. Absolutely shitting bricks. I'd probably kick it off my knee or something.
Oh, my goodness. That would be so freaking funny. Wouldn't you just try and call someone over? Like, oh, nah, my hammies a bit sore. I probably should get off. Like, Dane's or someone, Cam Rayner, just come over here because you're an elite kick.
Just grab a calf and fall over and think cramping. Oh, sorry, mate. I've got to go off.
Do you know what would be cool? Like, honestly, imagine if you could take the mark and then nominate someone. In your side, right? Who are you nominating? You take the mark where Mitch McGovern took it. Who are you nominating?
I'm probably going to nominate Joey.
Oh, yeah. Joey. That would be good. Imagine that being a rule. Now, we'll see. Who would I nominate? I'd probably nominate. I just think come off the man, come off the moment. I'll nominate myself. No, I'll nominate Bont. I reckon I'll nominate Bont.
Really?
Yeah, well, mate, he is the man. So who would I nominate? Like, outside of
nominate
Bont? Who?
I reckon I would nominate Bailey Dale.
Yeah, he's a beautiful kick.
You got to remember, it was about 50 out. Like, it was a decent kick. End of the game.
I'll tell you someone who's actually an elite, underrated kick in our team, Lockie Bramble. So he's probably someone I would nominate as well. The Adelaide Geelong game, unbelievable finish. Collingwood Carlton, unbelievable finish. Hawthorn GWS. I mean, we probably all thought the Giants had lost it. Well, you weren't watching, but I just presumed Hawthorn had won because they had gotten to such a big lead. But it just shows how good the Giants are. But the team that we gave a bit of love to last week and pumped up last week, the Bombers, mate, they really shut up the critics, which was great to see because as a player being in that position, I love seeing it. And they clearly beat a side in Freo, who are one of the, in my opinion, best teams in the competition. And the fact that Essendon were able to get up and win, very, very impressive.
Yeah, it was. I didn't get to see it, but I heard about it and must have been a cracking game to watch. I saw a few highlights. And have you seen the centre bounce play that Essendon do? So they did it against, who did they do it against?
Adelaide.
Who's their other close game?
Adelaide.
Yeah, Adelaide. So now every opposition team is going to know exactly what Essendon do. So you're just going to man up Zach Merritt at that centre bounce and stand in the space and protect it.
It's easier said than done, mate. You've just got to do that. But very impressive for them to execute in that moment. And that is pre-season worth of training, probably countless of hours in meetings and whatnot, and being able to execute that in that moment with 30 seconds to go. All credit to the Essendon Footy Club and the Essendon midfield who got that done. So well done. It was an unbelievable finish to watch. Anything from the round that caught your eyes before we do our tipping, mate? Because not even going to ask Brado for the scores, but we're just going to presume you're up by 100.
I think I did well. I did well this week, I reckon.
Probably, mate, but who gives a shit now because
it's
over.
Else.
Nothing else? All right. Well, we may as well do our tipping then, mate.
Let's get into it.
It's a great round, another ripping round again, and we're going to start with the Friday night game, Sydney-Collingwood. Before we tip away, mate, I'm going to give a huge amount of love to Jeremy Howe. So Howie, one of my great mates, plays his 250th this week. and it's been a
Oh.
great journey. Yes, been an unreal journey for the big fella. He's obviously started at Melbourne as a high flyer. I read something today that he's taken like 34 Mark of the Year nominations, which is just, oh my God, just mind-blowing. But obviously, one of his biggest assets is his high marking, high flying ability. He started as a forward at Melbourne and, had some real tough years there. But, he's when I played with him at Collingwood and when we got him, he probably underappreciated how much of, firstly, a great team man he is, and secondly, how much he cares. And that was probably the two standout features that I noticed as soon as I met Howie. And then from then on, you just build a great friendship and relationship with him. But, mate, what a human being he is, a great human being. I love the guy dearly. He's a superstar of the game, I feel like. He's still got plenty left to give. Hopefully, there's a couple more years left for him. But the fact that he was able to win a flag last year, which is something that he dreamt about for so very long, and he was a part of that 2018 side where we lost to the Eagles, and I firsthand seen how much that hurt him and hurt all of us. But yeah, so happy for him that he's playing his 250th. There couldn't be anyone more deserving to get all the love that he'll cop this week from abundance of people, because there's so many people that he's come across that he has an everlasting impact on. So wanted to give him some love. Superstar of the competition. Love him, and go well in your 250th.
All the best to Howie. Moving on to the tips now.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got? Friday night. Who you got?
Howie, that I reckon Collingwood. Although it's a hard one because Sydney, mate, they're obviously copping it at the moment, and they obviously didn't play overly well against Port Adelaide. But I'm gonna say for Howie, Collingwood will get the job done.
Yep, I'm going to agree with you on that one.
And you know what, mate? It's a massive one because Collingwood have now, Sydney have now come back to the pack, mate. They're obviously 2 points behind you. They're 4 points behind Port and Giants. So it is a massive game. And the fact that we're tipping Collingwood's a big tip, but unbelievable game. Saturday Arvo, we've got your game first against Giants. We'll do that later. We've got North and the Eagles at Bloodstone Arena. Both teams off the back of wins as well. So it'll be the first back-to-back win for one of these sides, which is great. So it's going to be a good game. Who are you tipping?
Kangas for me.
I reckon it's going to be a really close game. I'm going North as well. I'm thoroughly enjoying watching them play. I feel like they're in a really good really good month of footy, and they're going to be a very good side going forward. So I'm going to go North. Freo Geelong, Optus Stadium. This is a ripper.
I'm going to tip the Dockers at home against the Cats.
I am going to as well. I think Freo play Optus Stadium really well, although Geelong are in great form at the moment as well. It will be a ripper. Saturday night, Essendon versus Gold Coast, 7:30. This is another great game. I mean, Gold Coast mathematically can still make the finals. So, yeah, mate, this is a big game. Who are you tipping?
They can. Oh, they can, but they can't. Unless or Carlton lose every single game.
Well, hopefully that's not the case for us, but there's a little bit of fight there for him.
Yeah. I just think the away record this year is somewhat mentally got a few of the boys. I don't know. It's hard because I feel like on paper, the Gold Coast should win that game, but I'm going to tip Essendon. You
know what, mate? I'm going to go the Gold Coast. They'll break their away hoodoo. So I'm going to go the Gold Coast. MCG, this is a beauty. Melbourne v Port Adelaide. And you talk about, still make finals. Melbourne can definitely still make the finals. And Port Adelaide are flying at the moment. They are flying. I think I actually think they're 5-1 since people were talking about remember they were talking about sacking Kenny Hinkley, and now look how well he's going.
Yeah.
And after we give him love on the podcast, which I absolutely love for what it's worth. Yeah. So Melbourne versus Port, who you got?
I'll go Port. I think Port are in too good a form to drop that one.
Yeah. It's a big game. I'm just going to be different to you. I'm going to go Melbourne at the MCG. Stephen May's a big out for him as well. Far out. No, I'll go Melbourne. Sunday Arvo, we've got Carlton Hawthorn. This is, from my opinion, other than the Sydney Collingwood. Brisbane Giants is a ripper. I'm really excited about this game, Carlton Hawthorn. This
Yeah,
is
me too.
going to be a real exciting game. Who are you tipping?
Both teams had a close loss last week.
Tough game.
I'm going to tip Hawthorn. I'm going to tip Hawthorn. Yep.
I am too, mate. I'm with you. I could be wrong here. I could be wrong. Brado might know this, but I believe their last 2 losses were essentially, last minute goals. So they lost to Giants on the weekend, and then their last loss, from what I remember, was that Port Adelaide game. Remember over in Adelaide where Port Adelaide kicked the goal? I think it was Willem Drew, maybe. No, it was Darcy Byrne-Jones, maybe, kicked the goal with like 10 seconds to go.
Yeah.
So you take away those losses, they're one of the informed teams of the competition. So I'm sticking by that. I'm going to go Hawthorn to win at the G. 2 more games, Marvel Stadium, Richmond versus St Kilda. Who you got?
I'm going the Saints at Marvel.
I am too. I'm going the Saints. And I think Dusty's confirmed that the last game, maybe, he's going to do a lap of honour. So that'll be massive. It won't be this week. But, yeah, I'm going to go the Saints as well. Our games now, mate. Your game. Brisbane Giants, Gabba, 1:45 Saturday. Ripper.
Yeah, good time slot. Nice and early. Get in there and against a great team in the Giants who last week showed us, how good they are to come from behind, and they're still thereabouts in the competition. They're 4th on the ladder at the moment, so massive game for us, and one that we're really looking forward to. They smashed us last time in Canberra, so that is definitely in the front of mind, and we'll be looking at that throughout the week and hopefully showing them a different version of ourselves. So really looking forward to this challenge on Saturday. Yeah,
I remember that game. That was probably, I reckon you'd be the first to admit, but that was probably the worst game of the year that you boys played. It was a Friday night or Saturday night, and it was, you boys just didn't look like the Brisbane that we know. No. Will there be much you draw on from that? Because that's a long time ago. Like, that is weeks ago, mate, and you're clearly different in what you are. But will you draw on much from that game?
Oh, I think so, definitely. Like, in terms of how we looked that night, and then we allowed them to play the way that they wanted to. So we actually looked at a clip today, and it's like you're watching a completely different team, to be fair with you. We just looked so out of place, not playing together. Little things weren't happening, and, it was disappointing to see, but also not a bad one to see as well, because it does bring you back to, memories and those types of things and what it was like, not too long ago in terms of recent history. So, as I said, looking forward to the challenge and can't wait to get stuck in on.
I'll be really, really looking forward to this one. I think the midfield battle is going to be a great battle. I love watching good midfields go at it. They've got some real class in there, probably led by Tom Green, and obviously you boys have yourself and Lockie. It's going to be a really good contest. So I wish you all the very best, mate. I'll be watching that game. Our game, Adelaide v. the Bulldogs. So we obviously play the last game of the round in Adelaide. As I said earlier, I feel like Adelaide probably should have won last week. I watched a lot of that game, and for a large part, they were probably the better of the two sides. Geelong obviously ended up winning, but couldn't be more impressed about, when they're playing their best footy. They're a very hard side to beat. And as we've touched on throughout the year, mate, we've often said teams play better than their ladder position, and Adelaide are sitting 15th at the moment. But, mate, they're a lot better than that, and getting them at home on a home deck, crowd behind them. We've just got to be on with our with how we've been playing and how we've been starting. We've got to come with that energy and momentum, and hopefully we can. We haven't travelled well in Adelaide at all this year. We lost gather round against Geelong, and then we got absolutely torched by Port Adelaide a few weeks ago. So we've really got to bring the heat, and we're going to be really well prepared for this game.
Yeah, this is probably one of my games around, to be fair with you, because as you mentioned, the Adelaide record this year, and the Crows will get back Rankin. I think he'll be back for this game as well. Yep. So another really important player to him that's going to be itching to get back out there and making a statement on the game. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I feel like, you boys are flying and everyone knows that, and it's just a great opportunity for you to get down there and challenge yourself, as you just talked about. But how does it go in the midfield? What's it look like for you boys this week? Have you spoken about anything yet?
No, we haven't. And that's probably been, the the beauty at the moment of how we're planning our weeks. We're looking at the things we're doing well, and then as we get closer to the game, we suss them out a bit. But it's going to be a great battle. I mean, they're clearly led by Jordan Dawson, who last year was an All-Australian. I believe finished real high in the Brownlow, who at his best is as good as anybody in the league. Obviously, Matt Crouch came back in. Saligo is a very underrated gun player who I gave a bit of love to earlier this year, who I'm very, very impressed with. You throw in Ben Keys, who goes through there, Rory Laird. Like, they've got a very good midfield. And we know opposition teams, they clearly know when they come up against us, one of our strengths is our midfield group. So the challenge is going to be them wanting to hunt us rather than, vice versa. So we know it's going to be on, and fully expect the combative side to be, really up and about early. So, yeah, I feel like if we can get on top in there early, it'll give us a really good chance throughout the game to keep building on that. So, yeah, mate, really looking forward to it. It's going to be a great contest.
Yeah, me too. I reckon it's going to be a cracking game. Big crowd. I reckon the Adelaide fans will turn up for this one because they love winning at home and love doing it for their fans. So I'm sure it's going to be a hostile environment for you.
Give some love. My little give some love for the segment is an old teammate of mine, actually, born on the exact same day. Went through the ranks together, went for the same team, which was Carlton, same two favourite players, which was Anthony Koutafidis and Chris Judd. And his name's Dylan Shield. I'm going to give some love to Dylan Shield. And the reason being is, well, no one really talking about him because obviously he wasn't playing ones, but people have kind of forgotten about him as a player. And I've said before, the best junior football player I've ever seen, from when I say junior, I mean 18 and below, that I've played with or against, is Dylan Shield. Absolute superstar he was as a junior, and he's had a great career. I mean, people forget he was All-Australian in 2017. He's finished high in best and fairest and played for really good teams. And at his best, he's a star player. And I feel like he has added, I mean, he doesn't get the real high numbers, because the Merritts and the Caldwells and Darcy Parish is back now do. But when he gets the ball, you can still see that power and that strength, and all his one-woods that he brought are still there. I mean, on the weekend, I think he got 5 coaches' votes, and he had 20 disposals or whatever it may be from a statistical point of view. So watching him, and obviously I'm always, I don't know what you're like, but when I remember people who got drafted in my draft class, I always, take a real keen interest on them and guys that I played with, and obviously taking a real keen interest on Sheely coming back. And I feel like he's added so much to their midfield group and has been a bit of what they've missed a little bit of with his dynamic movement and whatnot through the middle. So he's the guy I want to give some love to. I feel like he's having a real big impact on their midfield group, and he's going to be vital for them going forward.
Like it. Good one to shout out. Mine's Liam Duggan from the Eagles, the skipper. One of the skippers. He just had a couple of big moments in that game. I was watching on Saturday night, I think it was, against the Suns, where he stood up and, made some big plays. And he's one that you can sort of, not that he's doesn't get love because he's a captain, but he's one you can sort of overlook, I reckon, with all the stuff like Harley Reid's of the world over in Perth. And he just quietly goes about his business. Obviously a great leader of the footy club. So I just wanted to give him some love for what he's doing over there. And he's had a bit of a troublesome year because of his concussion and whatnot, but still standing up in big moments, which is huge.
Yep, I agree. He's a star. He's very underrated as a captain as well. So great work, mate. Before you want to do your thing, or do you want to do that after? We got some questions that Tommy actually put up on his Oz American Aces channel that we need to answer.
Yeah, no,
what do you want to do, mate?
I've already done my thing. My thing was that swimming question, or the diving question, sorry, so we can get straight into this.
Well, I'm just going to go off on a limb here, mate. I haven't looked at any of these. I have.
Yep.
I'm simply just going to scroll through this and look and answer some questions for you. I'll read them out to you. So I've already got one straight away. This is RQ_ARBS33. Who is the most underrated player in the AFL right now?
Adam Treloar.
Is that your answer, mate? Because we can move on to the next question.
Yeah, it is.
All right. Beautiful. Give us your question then.
All right, mine's from Tim Shea. He actually sent this to me privately, so it's not on the screenshots that Tommy sent us. But this is Jado's old man, Jaden Shea, Tim Shea.
Beautiful.
So he wants to know what your plans after football are.
I actually don't know. I mean,
come on, tell the truth. Just tell the truth, mate. We all know you want to be a wrestler. Go do
be a world heavyweight title. Would you support me if I become a WWE superstar?
Yeah. I'll be there front row every week.
No, there's a bit that I want to do. I mean, it's hard. I like coaching, mentoring, being a player agent, something I'm interested in. Real estate, that's another thing I'm interested in. So there's a few things that I'm interested in. So it's hard to answer the question right now because I'm so invested in footy at the moment. So hard one, very hard one. J.Ewens or Ewens07. What has been your top 5 moments during your AFL career? Go on, Josh. Top 5, real 5 moments off your head.
Top 5. AFL Grand Final 16. Actually, they're my 3. So Grand Final in 16, Grand Final last year, 18. And Grand Final in 21. Yep. Sorry, so those 3 years.
Yep.
Running out with you in your first game against your old mob, Collingwood, is up there.
Thank you.
Prelim final in 2016 was incredible. One of the hardest games I reckon I've ever played, and it was an unbelievable result.
Well done, mate. Love it. Great question.
I've got one here that says, did Dunks enjoy the free Nobu? But I didn't end up getting free Nobu because Ads wasn't talking to me, so that's all right.
Move on. Next question.
All right, here's one. This is an AFL question from Thomas Drew _. What are your thoughts on a potential wildcard round for finals next year?
Nah. Knowing how hard an AFL footy season is, I just think it's an extra game. Nah, I'm not the biggest fan of it. Nah. What about you?
I think it'd be cool, but
it'd be cool.
Really mind.
But it's going to be hard. Imagine if you're one of the players in it though. Like you're probably not the biggest fan, are you?
Say it's a team like currently right now, like Hawthorn, for example. They've got some really good momentum that they would think that they're better than most teams right now in the comp.
Yeah.
So if they don't make finals, but they think that they're better than some of the teams ahead of them, well, then why not play off in a week where, we'll see who the better team is? I don't know. Yeah. I just feel like they're getting momentum towards the back end of the year. Obviously didn't start the year so well, so it was similar to us, really. And have found themselves in a spot now where, it's looking really tight. Like, do they deserve to be in finals? Had a really good crack at the end of the year?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't mind it. Oh, mate, I don't mind it, but Kai.Watkins3. If you could be in the Olympics, what sport would you do?
We sort of answered this before. A sport that I would like to be good at. I'd love to be an elite swimmer. I think swimming would be awesome to compete in. Just because I love the rigs, swimming at the Olympics.
And they got the best rigs.
Imagine having that chest and massive shoulders and stuff. Like unbelievable.
Yeah, no, I like it, mate. Go on, your question, and I've got one more.
Most influential, so this is from Justin.Ryan9. Most influential coach or member of staff of your career. On your career, sorry.
Oh, my gosh. I'm going to undersell so many. Because of he was my first real coach at AFL level, and the things he taught me from a skill point of view, from a work ethic, just little things that I've taken with me to this day. I'm going to say this guy because of those reasons, where I've had guys like Leon Cameron, Nathan Buckley, obviously Bevo, Luke Power. These guys have really helped me as well. But this guy, because of that reason, and it's Choco Williams. So coincidentally, he works at Melbourne, and he's obviously on the bench, and I obviously played my 250th on Friday. So I seen him and gave him a big hug, and it was a great little interaction because, it'd be cool for him being able to coach those guys. So I'm going to say Choco. He was an enormous impact on me. Great question. From Andre Private, what's your favourite snack to eat during footy season? But I'm gonna use that question more specifically. What foods do you snack on during the game? From an hour before the game to the end of the game, what do you snack on?
Okay, so I'll always have a banana and honey sandwich when I get to the ground, sort of 2 hours before the game. And then during the game, I'll always snack on lollies. I have Red Bull, actually, pre and at halftime. And then it's just lollies and those gels. That's all I really do.
Nice. And that is purely because.
What do you do?
Oh, well, I used to have about 8 pickle juices, but I don't have that anymore. That was purely because I like, firstly, the anti-cramping, but I like the taste of salt. It just helped me feel like, I don't know, settled my guts a bit. No word of a lie. That's why I had it. But now, I don't know. I just have energy gels, really. At each break, I might just have an energy gel and water. The Red Bull, I just don't know how it's a trend. Everyone's having Red Bull. I see at halftime and whatnot, I see opposition teams having Red Bull. I just can't have the fizziness. Like, doesn't the fizziness upset your stomach?
Nah, it's magnificent, mate.
Yeah, well, the boys here, Bonte and a couple of those boys love having it as well. So maybe I should trial it, see what happens. But I thought it was a good question.
I've got one more from Finn Genevieve, I think it is. If you played an AFL game in another country, what country would it be? If you were to choose any country in the world to play an AFL game, where would it be?
I'm just gonna say the States, and I'm gonna say it's sold out by Americans coming. Yeah, because I feel like they would fall in love with it.
Well, because you said States, I'll say somewhere in Europe. I'll say like London or something like that. I think that'd be cool.
I think people would fall in love with our game, and the States definitely would, because they would compare it to the NFL and the no padding and all the collisions and whatnot. They'd be blown away. So, thanks to everyone who sent questions in, because there's a million more here. Absolutely a million. Maybe we might answer them next couple of episodes. But, mate, that's it. Actually, we've got to get Brado on. I'm not forgetting about Brado. Welcome, Brado. Jump on, mate.
It's getting late, boys. I was starting to sweat. I'll get through it quick because she's been a long episode. But the reason why divers have the showers, pre and post dives into the pool, it's for temperature regulation, because the cold water of the pool makes their muscles tighten up. That and removing the chlorine from their body. Obviously, you don't want to walk around with chlorine all over you. We'll get into the tips, and we'll just take it week by week, Ads. We'll just go week by week, and you lost this week, but that's all right. You'll get next week. So
thanks, mate.
Let's just take it one week at a time. I wrote down a couple of iconic misses. Do you have an iconic miss at goal after the McGovern miss? I got Ballantyne against West Coast in the derby from the pocket. He thought it went in, but it didn't. And Isaac Smith v Geelong. That's probably the two most iconic ones that I could think of. But there was plenty of them. And I do have one fan question, because I'm a big fan of the podcast. Would you rather permanently be barefoot or permanently be wearing shoes? So shoes to bed, shoes in the shower, shoes everywhere, or be barefoot. So you're barefoot playing footy, you're barefoot out in the street. What's your go-to?
Barefoot for me, mate.
Great question. I love that question. I'm going to be barefoot too.
Oh, it's going to be a hard slog out on the MCG or out on Marvel wearing the no studs.
It will be
risky.
All good, mate. At least I can go to sleep comfy.
I'll go shoes just to beat Adam, because I'll beat him on the turf then.
Yeah.
I'll go to sleep comfy, mate. That's all that matters.
It's not a good shower. No baths. You don't want an ice bath in your shoes.
No, you don't.
Anyway, that's all I got for you. Good ep.
Thanks, Brado.
Thanks, everyone, for tuning in again. And well done again, Adsy, on 250 last week. We look forward to this week's games and the challenges ahead. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. This episode is brought to you by our friends at Brookes Blooms, your all-in-one landscaping solution.
Brookes Blooms' 3-step landscaping experience offers a seamless journey from design to construction and ongoing care, ensuring your outdoor space thrives year-round.
Visit brooksblooms.com today to embark on your landscaping journey, where every step is a step towards a vibrant and beautiful outdoor entertaining space.